So Matt's got a question here. Let me make sure because this came through as a few messages. I just want to make sure I have them here. So in ConfigMgr, many times they have machines that go unhealthy. They just stop patching from SCCM. First thing we try to do is uninstall and reinstall the agent. That's successful for a little bit. For many others, I made a task sequence that deletes software dist, dism component cleanup, dism restore health, and SFC scan now. Rarely does this result in much success. Is there a better method or known community script that is better than what we've been trying? I hate to have to reimage a machine or rebuild a VDI machine that is otherwise running fine.
Well, the short answer is yes. I'm gonna steal screen for a second. I was just checking up the version of the driver automation tool there. We put together a blog post a little while back regarding a holistic approach to ConfigMgr Client Health. In that post, in the very end, I have a reference to a community solution from Anders Rödland that is quite popular. A lot of organizations are using this one. This solution is a PowerShell script and an XML file that configures what happens with that script. And you typically deploy it as or through group policies. So if I close that one and go over to not that server, but my domain controller over here. So I have first of all, I have a preference that will download the script together with the config file to the clients. And then I have another preference that creates a scheduled task that runs that script. And at the very least, runs it once a day. A lot of organizations are running it once a day plus at startup of the device, because you can set that as a trigger. And if I go to one of the devices that happen to have it, this one here, this is what the XML file looks like. It tells you what version of the client it wants. And you will also see that there is a bunch of different checks that you can enable. And some of them you can also fix. So if the script detects that, for example, hardware inventory is not okay, it forces a full hardware inventory on that device, because that is one of the best ways to get a broken hardware inventory back on its feet again. So that one is a good community solution. It does have an optional database that you can enable. Just please note that if you do, and you're using the ConfigMgr database for it, you need to have a license for it. But that Client Health database is so small, so you can just run it in SQL Express. Even in larger environments, it's going to be a couple of 100 megs. And a SQL Express instance can be 10 gig. And you can have 32,000 of those instances, so you're good, I think. So that's what I would recommend to start with, to keep clients healthy.
All right. I do see Matt followed up that he's running the script already, but I wonder if they're showing up as unhealthy from time to time. Digging into the logs a little bit. It's not a super helpful answer, but
sometimes an uninstall and reinstall is not enough. Sometimes you practically have to nuke the ConfigMgr client from orbit. You usually do not have to re-image the device, but we do have on our Academy, on our GitHub repository, have shared a script somewhere. Yeah, this script here. Remove ConfigMgr client completely, and it does exactly what it says. So that doesn't just run the uninstall, but it also go ahead and then deletes all services, files and folders that need to go, WMI namespaces that need to go, classes that need to go. So maybe try that in your test environment first, of course.
Of course. And just real quick, we've got a couple of other questions here, but I thought this would be worth commenting. It's about Matt's client issue. Mike said that he's found that performing a client policy reset via WMI can help bring clients back in line, even those on which you've already gone scorched earth. Doesn't make sense, but it's worked many times in our environment.
That's a good point. I didn't think of it, but if you have well, either PowerShell or if you install the support tool, because starting with ConfigMgr 1802, like 6-7 years ago,
Yeah.
In the install folder, in the tools section, you have the support center tool. And if you install that on the client, it can be run remotely also, but if you install that on the client and head over to your policy, of course you can load your current policy, etc. But this one have that ready-made here to reset policy to default. It will take a good 20 minutes for that machine to come back. But that is a great point. That one can be used to convince a device to like start over. Oh, good share. Good. Thank you for that.